So, if you're in supply chain, you know spreadsheets. I mean, they're the backbone of everything, right? Familiar, reliable. But what if that same trusted tool is actually what's holding you back? Today, we're going to talk about supercharging your supply chain by looking beyond the spreadsheet. Let's dive in.
Okay, so here's how we're going to break it down. We'll start by looking at the limits of our favorite tools. Then we'll introduce a whole new way of thinking. After that, we'll get into the actual tools you'll need and lay out a clear 6-step path to master them. And most importantly, we'll see how all this translates into real business impact. Then we'll wrap it all up.
All right, first up, let's get real about the tool we all use every single day. We're going to talk about that friction point, where the massive demands of today's supply chains just smash up against the limits of yesterday's tech.
So this is a pretty blunt question, but it's a really important one. I mean, think about it. Everything is about speed, accuracy, and cutting costs. So we have to ask, is the tool that got us this far really the one that's going to get us where we need to go next? And this slide, well, it just lays it all out, doesn't it? Over on one side, you've got the world of Excel. It's manual, right? It totally struggles when you throw huge amounts of data at it and forget about running complex what-if scenarios. And on the other side, you have what the modern supply chain actually needs: automation, the ability to handle big data, and sophisticated modeling. You see that gap in the middle? Yeah, that's not closing on its own. It's actually getting wider every single day.
So, the big question is, how do we actually bridge that gap? Well, it's not about a better spreadsheet. It's about a totally new approach, a new discipline that was literally designed for these kinds of challenges. So let's put a name to it.
Okay, so it's called Supply Chain Machine Learning Engineering. That's a mouthful, so let's just call it SCMLE. The best way to think about it is like a hybrid. It's taking the predictive power of machine learning, the rock-solid structure of data engineering, and the efficiency of optimization, and smashing them all together. And then you point that powerful combo directly at real supply chain problems, everything from demand forecasting all the way up to high-level S&OP.
And this quote, this just nails the why behind it all. The goal is to move beyond spreadsheets and manual analysis and move toward data-driven, automated, and scalable decision-making systems. See, this isn't about chasing shiny new tech. It's about a fundamental shift, moving from intuition and manual work to building smart, automated systems that grow with you.
Okay, so if you're going to build these incredible systems, you can't use the same old tools. Let's put it this way. If Excel is your trusty screwdriver, what we're about to talk about, these are the power tools, the heavy-duty stuff you need for the big jobs.
So, this modern toolkit really comes down to 3 main players. First up is Python. Think of this as your workhorse. It's what's going to automate your tasks, run your optimizations, and fire up those machine learning models. Then you've got SQL. This is the language of data. It's how you grab, organize, and manage all that massive data your supply chain is creating every second. And finally, you've got Power BI. This is your storyteller. It takes all that complex, raw data and turns it into beautiful, interactive dashboards that actually help you make decisions.
Now, learning all this stuff might sound a little overwhelming, but it's not about just jumping in the deep end. There's actually a really clear, step-by-step path that takes you from the absolute basics all the way to high-level strategy.
So let's walk through this path because each step really builds on the last. Step 1 is just the foundation. You learn to look at your supply chain problems through a data lens. Then, step 2, you get your hands dirty with SQL so you can actually manage all that data. Step 3 is where the fun starts, using Python to build predictive models. And in step 4, you use Python again to automate and scale those models. Step 5 is the big reveal, using Power BI to visualize everything so people can actually understand it. And it all leads to step 6, strategy. This is where you use that entire toolkit to give the business clear, data-backed recommendations.
Okay. This is my favorite part. This is where all that technical stuff meets the real world. I mean, learning new skills is great, but what we really care about is the impact on the business, right? The bottom line. So, let's look at the results.
First and foremost, we're talking about a lower cost of goods sold, a significantly lower cost. When you use data to make smarter buying decisions and to optimize your production planning, you're not just saving pennies, you are driving real, measurable savings that go straight to the bottom line. All right, what's next? Higher revenue. And no, this isn't some kind of magic trick. It's what happens when you use machine learning to get crazy accurate demand forecasts. When you know what's coming, you have fewer stockouts. Fewer stockouts mean more sales. It's that simple. So, you're lowering your costs And you're increasing your revenue. What happens when you do both at the same time? Boom, you get the holy grail, optimized profit margins. This is what it looks like when you can finally balance supply, demand, and all your operations at scale using a system that's driven by data.
Okay, so how does this actually work in practice? Let's connect the dots. For demand planning, you're swapping out old-school guesswork for super precise machine learning models. For supply planning, you're using powerful algorithms to find the absolute most efficient way to get things done. And for the big picture, for S&OP, you're building these incredible end-to-end simulations. Think about that. You can test the cost and profit impact of a huge decision before you ever pull the trigger.
Whew, okay, we have covered a ton of ground here. So let's just boil it all down to the key things you really need to remember.
So, if you remember anything from this, remember this. 1. Excel is great, but it has a ceiling, especially with big data. 2. This new discipline, SCMLE, is the bridge to get over that ceiling. 3. The power tools for the job are Python, SQL, and Power BI. And number 4, the most important one, learning this stuff isn't just for tech geeks. It's a direct line to making your company more money by improving costs, revenue, and profit.
So here's the thing. The data you need to completely transform your supply chain, it's not some far-off dream. It's already there. It's sitting in your ERPs, it's in your planning systems, heck, it's even in your spreadsheets right now. So really, there's only one question left to ask. The data's there. Are you ready to use it?